What's good, Elevators? It's your boy Elevation here with another episode of the JBP Elevated, where we speak on the Joe Budden podcast and all of his co-hosts on and off the pod. No. Y'all keep telling me that Flip isn't needed. Joe was solid enough to come out and tell us that Flip and Mona will no longer be on the same episodes going forward. And it seems like I'm the only one that cares about this. Am I the only one that's paying attention to what's going on? It's not even about Flip at this point. Well, actually it is, but not this particular instance. Guys, you can't have two of these rambunctious, brazen, energetic personalities on your show, and for whatever reason, you can't have them coexist together. Everybody's always calling out the leadership qualms of Joe. And honestly, this does fall on Joe. I have two dynamic personalities that together could boost my show up. I want y'all to work together. And clearly, he had that thought in mind because initially Flip and Mona were working together. You have to be able to get them to coexist. And this is a problem that we've seen throughout the years on the JBP. Joe, as much as I talk shit about him not wanting to look bad for firing people, and it seems like he's a crazy boss, Joe is actually a pushover when it comes to being a boss. There's no way I can't boost the ratings of my show because y'all two motherfuckers can't get along. And everybody's pointing the finger at Flip. Everybody's placing the blame on Flip. It's funny because Mona initially took issue with Flip when he was directing her. In a tone, in a fashion that she did not like. But it's cool when everybody up there persistently and consistently calls Flip an idiot straight to his face. They joke about it. They call him chicken nugget. They talk about his weight. All type of shit. And Flip had to put up with this. But when he fires back, he's always seen as the bad guy. It's always Flip taking it to the next level. Is it because of the tone of his voice? And if you're Mona and you tell Joe, I have an issue with Flip, he's already acclimating to your choices and your decisions over Flip's, what does that show you in the long run? Why would you want to listen to anything that Joe tells you going forward? You already are showing me how much power I have here at the JBP. I'm going on a little mini rant because today I had to listen to the Poor Minds Patreon episode, and it's not my bag. I'm not the audience that they were directed towards. But at the same time, I'm looking at Mona run this shit. I'm looking at Mark run this shit in the segues, and it just keeps calling back into in the question, how much longer is Joe gonna be here? Because Joe, the last time he spoke on me, mentioned that I said Mark was trying to take over the show. And shout out to Mark because he ain't shit on me like he wanted to, but he still shit on me because it's 100% not true, because I'm doing what Joe told me to do. I'm showing my strengths. And speaking of Mark, a lot of people are starting to turn on Mark, which is why I'm starting to pull back, because I don't want to be the one that influences how other people feel. But the whispers are getting louder, sir. The whispers are getting louder. But anywho, Joe is able to get everybody else to fall in line. But for whatever reason, because Mona is the cash cow right now, and let's be clear, she's the cash cow. Her first month on the show, she got powder of the month. And as much of a big deal Mark was trying to make that, we need to pay attention to Mona because I already got Flip off. And let's be clear, Mona doesn't even have to decipher the real reasons as to why Flip isn't on. She just knows that the very first altercation that she got in with one of the co-hosts, she went to Joe with it and she came out the victor. She doesn't know that Flip was an idiot towards Melissa the entire time and duration she was on the show, and it's going to be a bad look if Flip brings the same attitude towards you, the second female that he's worked with on the show. It's going to be a terrible look for him. And for whatever reason, as many missteps and mishaps Flip has had, Joe will not get rid of this nigga. He won't get rid of this nigga. But everybody keeps telling me that he doesn't have any value to the show. Huh? We speak on Flip even when he's not here. We don't speak on Ice like that. We don't speak on, we do speak on Ish. But you know how I feel about Ish as well. If Parks missed the episode, which he doesn't, we wouldn't speak on him like that. We would just tell him to enjoy his day. But at the same time, them missing episodes is up to them. Joe don't have to tell these niggas to sit down. That's not weird that he's constantly having to tell you to sit down. And Mona, once again, she's not going to give a fuck the real reasoning behind it. Nigga, I have power here. And you don't want to let her get too much power too quickly, because then Joe's going to have to do the same thing he's doing to Flip to her later on down the line. Because let's be clear, guys. Joe is not done hiring yet. He's not done. And that last Mark and Ian episode should have been a huge wake-up call for everyone on this podcast. Everyone. Wait a minute. When LL Cool J came up here as a guest, it didn't seem like him and Joe were too friendly. It seemed like this was like the first or second time that they actually associated with each other and spoke. But now this nigga is making appearances on his side show. And shout out to Ian, because I think that he has actual relationships with a lot of the people that are coming on the show. But if I'm one of the co-hosts, I'm looking at it like, damn, how much? That would have been the first question that popped up in my head. How much money did Joe pay LL Cool J and Jason Biggs to come on the show? How much? Because if it's anywhere close to what I make in a month, I'm nervous. Because Joe, his face tells me every single time I watch him pod that he's not happy with where his current state of his actual pod, not the business side of things. Everything is going great. And because of that, I think that's why he has gotten off the gas. I haven't had to divulge as much information. I haven't had to be as vulnerable as I once was when I was getting the shit out the mud, but the checks are bigger. I'm curious as to the direction that the JBP is going to go when everybody realizes that he's not done hiring. I don't think he's just going to come out with a show on Thursday talking about, yeah, I got the same cast of characters here. We're talking about the same things, even though it seems like we're seemingly running out of topics to speak about on the main episode and the Patreons already. So why would he hire more people? And it's still very telling to me that when he mentioned bringing up another show on Thursday, he was talking directly to Ice. He didn't afterwards tell everybody up there, oh yeah, I got a show coming on Thursday and I'll be talking to y'all behind the scenes or after the show about it. He didn't say none of that. I know it sounds like I'm hating on Mona, and I've been hating on Mona a lot, but I find it weird that Flip always has to be the scapegoat for everything that happens up there. And Mona has been letting her jokes, quote unquote, and shots, quote unquote, fly towards these niggas. What happens, and I don't want to prematurely call this or jinx this, but what happens when Mona shifts her sights from Flip to the next nigga? What happens when she gets on Ice's bad side one day with one of her jokes and Ice responds in a way that she doesn't like? Is Ice no longer going to be able to show up on the show, or is it only Flip because he had those altercations with Melissa? But let's be clear, it wasn't just Flip with Melissa. He was persistent than a bitch. He wouldn't get off her dick, but it wasn't just Flip. So I'm curious how the disciplinary actions work at the JBP, because Flip brings too much to the table, but apparently he doesn't bring enough to the table to stay out of trouble. And Mona is already showing her power and is already showing her status at the JBP. And I don't know if it's the direction that we want to go on. Everybody's championing her. Everybody's championing her replacing Mel. But I don't even think that's what she was brought for. She was supposed to be an added dynamic. But now, as a result of Melissa leaving, we might see the end of Flip And it's just nuts to me. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. I could be tripping. I could be bugging like always. Y'all also let me know what y'all think of today's Patreon. Last episode of the main pod was a pretty good episode. And I have another video that I want to speak on or make, because there's something that Joe said that I spoke on 2 or 3 weeks ago, and nobody seems to understand what it is that I'm saying. But Joe heard it because he responded directly to me, and we'll get to that later. But like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the page if you have it. If you have, you already know how it is. You already know how we rocking. We're just going to keep this thing moving forward, and I appreciate all the support. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.